All right. Well, it's hard to, to continue to reflect back on last weekend, but yeah, we are. Okay. I don't know who that is, but like I said, it's hard to reflect back when you've got to continue to move forward. But last weekend was an awesome weekend. Starts with the seniors, then it moves to that the students and the student section and that environment that was created last week in the stadium, and then the combination of all, obviously the way that those guys played and led that team. So all in all, it was a great weekend. And the difficult thing is, you got to move forward, especially when you got an earlier game. You got all the distractions of this week with Thanksgiving and things like that, and you play on a Friday afternoon. So, it's been one of those things where it's not a whole lot of time to celebrate. You kind of enjoy it quick, continue to move forward, and then, get right back into things. And, that's how it is late in the year anyway. And, you can't dwell upon the things that have happened when you've got other things ahead of you that you got to continue to roll to. So I think those guys have done a really good job of that this week and have recognized that and had hopefully a way to be able to balance some things out and enjoy what it is that they did, especially those seniors, and now continue to move forward. So we've got a big one this week. We've got to go on the road, and it's always difficult on the road. I think if you look at our league and how teams have fared on the road, it's been really, really tough. And then ECU's playing really well. I think this is, a really good football team that, is hitting their stride there at the end of the season. We hope it.
About going to Greenville that makes it so difficult for everybody?
I don't know. I mean, I just think in general, that's what Coach Dykes said to me before the game last week. He said it's just, I don't know if it's just the league, but going on the road, it's really difficult. And I'm not saying it's, the crowds and the noise and things like that. It's just, obviously you get out of a different routine. So we know we've been there twice, I think, in the last 5 years, and the first one was really, really, really ugly. And then obviously 2 years ago was a really difficult game, and some way, somehow we found a way to kick a field goal to win the game at the end. So, that's what you got to kind of prepare yourself for. And not just going on the road, but also watching as this team in the last 5 weeks and how they've played. And I think that's where you really got to say, hey, this is what you got to be prepared for.
You saw how good Dez was for his senior day. Do you worry about Holt Nailers having another
Well,
out-of-body experience?
that's what it's about. I mean, we know. I mean, you're going to play somebody on their senior day. And I don't know that their seniors are the leaders of their program and things like that, but obviously this is another one like that. And so there'll be a lot of emotion, there'll be a lot of energy for them, not just because of senior day, but also because of the way they've played this entire year. They're on to a bowl game and have a lot of positive momentum within the program.
You mentioned that positive momentum they have going. They're riding a 4-game win streak with 2 close games last 2 weeks. How are you guys handling that on the short week going into the preparation?
I don't know that it's like all of a sudden we're doing something different because they're on a 4-game win streak. But I think it's, obviously respecting and understanding what it is that you're playing and walking into. We've said it all year. It's not the best team that wins the game. It's the team that plays the best. And, as you go down the end of a season, the last 3-4 weeks of a season, you can tell a lot of different things from programs and teams. And I think that's the thing that you look at with what they've done there. And you see a team that's got a lot of positive momentum. So there's a lot of things that add up to it. For us, it's still got to be about, hey, we got to go out and play. We know what's at stake, and it's just another opportunity for our guys to go out and compete and do what they love to do.
Kobe was named one of the 3 finalists for the Jim Folk Award. How happy does that make you to see him getting that type of national recognition?
Well, we try not to get into the individual stuff and the individual awards. Especially when a season's going on, but it's really difficult not to, smile and be so happy for a guy like that that's worked so hard. So I know the great thing is it'll probably go in one ear and out the other ear for Kobe. He'll probably crack a smile if he did, and then he'll continue to move on. So I know he's a guy that can handle, but it's well deserved. And I know that if you asked him about it, he probably would some way somehow deflect the individual award or at least recognition onto, hey, what this team has done and what they've still got to do.
We want to try Justin.
You got me?
We do.
All right. Obviously Trey got some more opportunities Saturday with Mike being banged up, but how have you seen him progress from a guy you tried
sometimes it has a lot to do with just the opportunities. And last week was one of those opportunities with Mike out that Trey maybe had some more chances to be in there in some other situations, and has obviously proven a lot of things. Starting from a kick returner to not say a gadget guy, but a guy that you want to get the ball in his hands and find ways to really truly a complete wide receiver. And his future is really bright. He's a guy. We talked about Kobe Bryant and what he's done in a process, and I'm not sure that you would say much different from a guy like Trey Tucker. That just you've seen the process of how he's continued to grow and to be a complete player, and I think he's just getting some more opportunities to show that and demonstrate what it is that he's kind of growing into.
Question from Keith.
Hey, Coach, you got me?
Yep.
Kicking game, it was a challenge on Saturday. You needed a last-second field goal to beat ECU 2 years ago. You needed a last-second field goal to win the MVP last year. How concerned are you about the field goal this last stretch?
Sorry, Keith, we couldn't hear you. We must not have a good connection, so we'll go to the next. What do you want me to sit up and lay awake at night? We got confidence in the guys that that are doing it, and they're continuing to compete, and it is what it is. I think that I'm not saying we've got some other answers. Obviously Bales has won the competition. He continues to win the competition, and he'll be the guy that kicks for us. Now we've got to put him in some good situations. And I think it has to do with confidence. And again, it's a new week, and we continue to make him compete. And he's gone out again yesterday and competed again, and he's going to be our guy. So, it is what it is. I know if we have to line up and kick a field goal, he'll be the guy that lines up and kick a field goal for us, and we believe in him.
You secretly like these short weeks, don't you? Because you have to get right back to it.
Yeah. I think it's really hard on a Sunday. It's really hard on a Monday just in trying to, kind of change your routine and cram some things together. But I think it does kind of, make you have to lock in and focus. And, especially down the stretch. Everybody's banged up. Everybody's got some sickness and things that are going through their program. And sometimes when you keep guys a little bit more on it and focused, you believe that they got a better chance to handle all the different things that are going on.
You always talk about playing your best football at the end of the year. Is that what Saturday looked like?
I hope. I don't. Maybe I hope it's not completely the final and the best that we've played or can play. But what you're looking for is that complete game, that ability to play in all three phases and for 4 quarters. And I thought we did a really good job of that. I said after the game, the most impressive thing to me was how we came out after the half. We came out with some fire, with a purpose, and still stayed after it on both sides of the football and in the kicking game. And so to me, those were the things that you want to be able to see as you grow, because, like I said, you're going to have guys that are going to be out. A Mike Young can't play, a Malik Van that can't play, and things like that. And you can't take any steps backwards, and you got to trust and believe in those guys are going to go in there and take advantage of their opportunities as well for all of us.
You mentioned ECU's quarterback and Holton Hayers earlier. Talk about what the offense behind Keaton Mitchell's like, knowing last 3 games coming into Saturday, giving up 200-plus rushing yards. Saturday's performance held SMU to under 150. Talk about what preparation's like to prepare for a guy like him.
Well, they're a really good football team. If you look back, they're really balanced in what they do at running and throwing. A couple years ago they threw for a boatload of yards, and then last year I thought we did a pretty decent job, but they actually ran the ball really well. And as you really see them evolve now, sometimes when you just pop it on, you think that, hey, they're running the football. They've obviously got the leading rusher in the league, and then all of a sudden you look down there and he's got 400 yards throwing in a game as well. So I think that's what you're seeing. The balance is why they are where they are. I think defensively they've done a great job as well, and that's what it takes. It's not like a one-sided team that's going to go out there and have 600 yards of offense, but they don't have the balance on the other side. And it's the same way if they're going to throw for 400, but they can't run the football. So as you see, the better teams, especially at the end of the year, have balance in what they're doing, and that's what they've done.
How much are you able to take away from getting your second year twos and 1Bs out there and then getting them a look against the other team's first team?
I think it's a great shot of reality, and it's hard for those guys. We know, they practice, and they do a lot of things all week, and then sometimes they do or they don't. Most of the time, don't get a whole lot of opportunities, and then to have those chances, actually, a little more. From the middle of the third quarter on, probably, you get a lot better evaluation. They get a better evaluation of themselves because, without you actually being in the fire, it's hard to figure out what you really need to do to get better, and so I think, more than anything, we got an opportunity, they got an opportunity to evaluate themselves, see what it's really like, especially when a team continues to play. Their quarterback's still out there, their first defense is still out there. Teams are going to continue to play, and I think it's invaluable. Sometimes it's frustrating, and I think it's a great shot of reality for a lot of those guys.
I know you don't probably notice it during the week, but you always talk about energy and momentum. Do you see the buzz of this program just growing more this year, being 11-0, being in the playoff conversation? Do you feel that when you're inside the program, or is it more of a fan thing?
I probably don't do a great job of it. I did feel a little more, I don't know, say energy last week, and I don't, it's hard because you wonder, you got guys injured, you got guys that are sick as you get late in the year, but you can kind of notice, a little bounce in the step of the guys and the things like that, and maybe that's coming from the outside, maybe that's, maybe they're handling those things different. I know this: when you go to Saturday and you walk in the stadium, it's not hard to figure out that there's a really good buzz within our community, obviously on our campus, and throughout our entire city. Not just the amount of people that are there, but you can feel and hear the energy throughout that entire stadium.
You've been pretty clear on that you don't care or watch these Tuesday night college football playoff show things. But do you expect or want your players to have the same language you have towards those kinds of stuff?
I don't want them to be anything like me. No, I mean, you can set yourself up for failure. Like I told you a couple weeks ago, we try to challenge them to put their phones away and try to let their minds relax, but not like I'm going to go around and, police it. So, no, sometimes it's motivating too. You got to trust that they got enough respect, they got enough maturity to be able to handle whichever way it is. And, so, I mean, if they don't watch, then they're going to hear about it and they're going to see it. So, for some, it might be motivating. For some, it might be, depressing. I don't know. But, it is what it is. I think we've kind of said that from the get-go, and it doesn't really matter until the very end of the season. And, but we're not going to set ourselves up for failure. We know they've got their routines to how they do things and what they do. And if they've got a test, I hope they're studying for it and not worried about the show, and, take care of their business first, and the other stuff will be there.
Justin, you got another one?
Yeah, seems like I'm not going to read a lot after more confidence in game. Did you start to see that earlier in practice?
It's hard. It's those are the things that are kind of difficult to see sometimes. Not that you don't see a guy's confidence, and he's been a punt returner, but a lot of times it takes those opportunities in a game. And probably the South Florida was the biggest opportunity where he actually got to carry the ball a lot more and carry the load a little bit. And you see guys that can step their game up and play the way they've prepared to play. And it comes down to those opportunities, and he's done a great job with that. You've seen a lot of guys do that. I think Juwan Briggs last week stepped in, and not that he hasn't been playing, but all of a sudden he's thrust into more of a starting role, and he plays really well. And whether it's Trey Tucker, who's a starter, and all those things, he just has some more opportunities. And there's guys that that excel at that. There's guys that thrive in those opportunities when they're prepared. A lot of times we don't know. We talked about Chuck early in camp. We didn't really know if he was really back, because we don't go a whole lot of live situations, and you don't sometimes get a great feel for that until the bullets are flying. And so it's great, especially as you get down the end of the year, to see those guys when those opportunities come, that you've seen the growth truly from them. You think you've seen it in practice, but when it happens in games, now you recognize that the growth is really happening.
So if you don't watch the show, when do you find out where you're ranked?
Probably when Zach or one of my kids come, they'd probably be asleep by the time I get home. So somebody else will tell me. I think I went to the radio show the last time, and I think Dan had to tell me. So, I don't know. Somebody will tell me. I don't turn the radio on in the car, so if it's on the radio, I wouldn't know either. But somebody will probably spill the beans.
Do you address that with the team in practice, is where you're at? And
No, we really don't. I mean, we talk about the noise, and that's either positive or negative noise, but we don't talk directly about those things. We just kind of remind ourselves that, look, you take care of business, and I promise you good things are going to happen. And you got to trust and believe that. If you don't, then you're right. You'll worry and you'll lay awake and you'll think about all different scenarios and things like that. And the reality is you can only control the things that you can control, and you got to find the best way of not allowing the other things to affect you.
You driving complete silence.
Now sometimes the radio or the phone, it'll be on some soothing country music or something, but sometimes it's complete silence because there's not a whole lot of silence here. You've been to practice, the music, and no silence when we're in the game planning and things like that. And there's surely, unless it's really late when I get home, there's not silence at my house. So that's about the only peace and silence that I get.
you don't play the same playlist at practice in your car at the same volume?
They don't let me play the playlist at practice, I can assure you that.
Sound a little different.
It might be a little bit different.
Keith, do you have another question?
Yes, I got a positive question to tell.
I hear you now, Keith.
So I'm in Kansas City. I spoke with Travis Kelce. He spoke glowingly about you, your staff, your players, what you guys have been able to accomplish. My question is, how has Travis and his play as a UC alumnus helped you as you're trying to grow this program?
Well, I don't get a chance to watch. I see some highlights, but I know this more than anything. What he has done gives these guys, that vision. It gives them they see what the dream looks like. And I think that when we walked in the door, he talked about that blind faith, and you can do whatever you want to do wherever it is that you go if you really truly believe in or developed. And sometimes it's harder when you've never seen it. And for everybody within this program knows exactly who Travis Kelce is. They don't maybe know his entire journey, but they know where he came from and then what he's doing now. So there's no greater example for them to see, what it is and you can do if you truly believe in it and you love the game. So he is an incredible example to all these guys, whether they know him or not. Whether they watch him every Sunday or not, they know who he is and they know what he's done and they know where he's done it from.
Did you get a chance to watch Wes's big performance last night?
I think we came off the field and they were up 20 with about 6 minutes to go, and felt really good about where they were, so I didn't think he needed me anymore.
Any other questions for Coach?
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Miss us being on Zoom?
Yeah. If it wasn't those two, we would have taken their questions. Since they've been here every week.
That's a shot.
Good afternoon.
I does.
Hola.
So, what is that feeling like when you have everything working like you did Saturday from the jump?
Yeah, it feels good to obviously go out there and start fast, and not only start fast in the first half, but in the second half as well. It's been a struggle for us this whole season to be able to put together a full game, and whether you call it a full game or not, it was a good feeling not only for myself but for the whole team and whole offense.
What's the challenge of playing in Greenville? It just seems like it's such a difficult place to play.
It is. Like Coach Fick said, playing on the road is hard. Playing anywhere but your own stadium is definitely tough. Going down there to Greenville, the fans are. It's a good bunch of fans they got down there, and they're gonna let you hear it. And so it's really about keeping the players in check, keeping them focused and locked in on the game, because the fans are right there at your back. And they'll let you hear it when you're not doing so well, and if you let that get to you, it can really mess up your game. So keeping everyone focused, locked in on the game, locked in on what we have to do, I think that's where teams can be successful there.
What do you remember about that game 2 years ago where you guys win it on the late field goal?
The first play of the game, when I threw a pick going to AP, and the guy got up and did a motion where he strapped it, and That's something I'll remember and definitely keep with me going into this week.
Justin, question.
It certainly seemed like there were, whatever the game plan was going into SMU, it worked really well. I doubt that you guys have like good game plans for games where you play well and bad games when you don't. So what was it about SMU where you guys just seem to be able to execute, kind of hit those open guys?
Early in the week, I think Coach Denbrock had challenged the offensive linemen that the game was going to be won up front. Like we say all the time, all of our games are won on the O-line and D-line. I think he really challenged them to play their best ball. They did that, letting up, not zero quarterback pressures, dominating the run game. So like I said, it all starts with them. And, once we can get them going, it makes everything else on our ends and the receivers and the tight ends kind of run a lot smoother.
Justin or Keith?
Yeah, I got that one. The 40-yard run is kind of stumble at the beginning of that, but as a quarterback, what goes through your head? Like, I know you're reading the defensive end, but how do you know I'm keeping this one or I'm giving this one? What are you looking at specifically?
Yeah, so on that specific play, we had knew that they were going to bring pressures and fourth down and third and short and what we call the go zone right there once we crossed the 50. And that's where we were, and we saw it, and we got it, and we knew what the O-line needed to block. And I knew I was going to have one off the edge, so it's really just reading him, whether he wants to take Rome or whether he wants to take me. The good DBs and the good DNs who are able to kind of play both, they do a good job of it. And there, I've played a lot of football, and I've made that read plenty of times. And I could tell, just the way his body demeanor was, how fast he was coming, that he was going to take the running back. And so once I pulled it, they were in cover zero, and everyone kind of flowed into the run. I got a great downfield block by Tyler Scott, and I think it was Monty at the time, a running back who bent back. And yeah, like you said, at that point it was just making sure I stayed on my feet, and the rest is history. But, once I get out there in space, I just hope no one's behind me to catch up.
I know Coach Fick doesn't watch the show, and you declined on that show a couple weeks ago when the rankings come out each Tuesday. So I'll ask you what I asked him. When do you find out where you're ranked? Is there like a group text? Is he on a tweet?
Yeah, no, like I said a couple of weeks ago, it's usually about all 30 of you guys who tweet it out, and I check it the next morning when I get on Twitter or get on Instagram, whatever it may be. But yeah, ECU is a great team. It's going to be their senior night, and we're excited to play them, and we're excited to get down there.
Any more curiosity this week than in past weeks, given that a lot of people do think you'll jump in the top 4 for the first time?
Like I said, it is ECU senior night, so they're going to be excited to play. It's going to be a great environment to go down there and compete and battle. We're just excited to have the opportunity to get down there. This is a big game for us, talking about the conference championship in 2 weeks for home field advantage. So we're excited to get down there and play and ready to compete.
Is there a sense of pride being a top 5 team most of the year? Is that kind of a cool thing to take this program to a new level in that regard, though?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Like I said, I think, not only for us and ourselves, but in this program, but for the city and the community and all the students and all the fans who have been a part of UC for years before I was born, for them to be able to see their school on a national level. It's something that we take pride in and something that we'll continue to take pride in.
You have a chance for a second consecutive undefeated regular season. How much pride do you take in that as a football?
Very much pride, and even deeper than that, we always talk about playing at home and playing at Nippert and the atmosphere. Of being able to go undefeated at home for the past 4 years. Every team that steps in here is going to get our best, no matter who we play, no matter where we play. But it's definitely a different feeling when you step in Nippert Stadium. I think that's one thing that we definitely take pride in the most.
Have you noticed there's a different buzz around the program from year 1 and 2 to now? Just when you step out on the field on Saturday, Fick was talking about just the crowd feeling different and being more involved. Do you feel that too?
Yeah, definitely. I know my first year, later in the season, we're playing Marshall, we're playing UConn, we're playing SMU. You could look up in the stands and probably count, the people that are in the stands. And then over the years, it's just grown and it's just grown and it's just grown to where now I think this season, almost every game, if not every game, has been sold out. So just their tremendous, support from our fans, from our community, from our city. We just want to extend our condolences and say thank you to all of them for being there and supporting us over the years.
Is there something about senior day that kicks in that realization that we're almost to the finish line? We've got the ability to finish this. Maybe creates a greater sense of urgency.
I would say yes and no. I think pregame, a lot of people obviously focus on the game, but it's pretty cool to go out there pregame and hear all the fans, cheer for you and go out there and line up with your family. But then, once the game kicks off, it's football how it is every single week. And it's just about executing at that point. But, senior night, obviously, it gives us a different momentum to just be here and be at home like every team senior night. So like I said, going into this week, it's ECU senior night. So they're going to come in with a different type mentality, and not even that it's just they're playing us. Like I said, it's their senior night, and so they're going to give us their all.
Keith or Justin, any other questions?
Hey, Chris, now that you have a receiving touchdown on your resume and Bobby's with Coach Denbrock, Coach, any flashback about why
Yeah, so I have back-to-back weeks with the reception, both completed, so I'm 100% in my career. Over the past couple of years, you've kind of seen me motion out wide in the red zone, and I kind of usually just do a little lazy fade or may go block. And there's been some times where I'm one-on-one out there, or maybe they leave me open and go in for the run. I'm not told all the running backs from Mike Warren to Jared Dokes to Jerome Ford. Throw the ball to me, I'm going to catch it. You don't have to worry about that. So maybe they might see my completion percentage now and might second guess whether they want to run the ball or whether they want to get a passing touchdown on their record.
I got one more random one for you. What's the story behind the Pump It Up song? Where did that start? Was that high ground or?
Yeah, I think it was higher ground, and I'm gonna say I think it was Kyle Bolden. He's an electric guy. Between Kyle Bolden and Ryan Royer, those are two guys that kind of bring what we like to call juice. Kind of around our locker room, around our program. And, I don't know where that song came from or where they found it, but, it was something that I think it was out at higher ground where, early in those mornings and you're in day 10, day 11, you just need some extra juice. It was something that just got us going. And now it's the kickoff song and everyone loves it and everyone's playing it all around campus. And it's definitely a good vibe for sure.
Any other questions? One more.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said earlier, people could say we could play a complete game. There were still mistakes out there that we can clean up. But we played a really good game. And it motivates us to even take a step further and continue to play that same game week by week. It's just going to go to this week and the week after and then into the bowl game. So, like I said, we're excited to go play. We've been preparing for a really good ECU team, and we can't wait to get down there and play.